Hello and welcome back to Catholic Truth Online. I'm going to go through the second part of the chapter that we started, which is on the Catholic Church. So our next question is, how is the Catholic Church holy? Remember, we're saying that the Catholic Church is one, holy, Catholic and apostolic, and just in the last video we were on about the oneness of the Church, and we were saying that ever since the beginning of the Church, the members have been professing the same faith, having the same sacrifice and sacraments, and obeying the same lawful visible head on earth. Now we're talking about how is the Catholic Church holy. Catholic Church is holy because its doctrines, sacraments and sacrifice enable men to become holy, and because so many of its members have been eminent for holiness in all ages. Okay, so we've it's saying now that it's the sacraments and the sacrifice that make men holy, hence the Church is holy. The end of the Church is the salvation of the souls, by the way. That's its purpose, to save souls and also to sanctify souls in order that they can more surely be saved, but also as something that's our duty, or the duty of the Church, to sanctify as well as to save. And because so many of the members have been eminent in holiness, so that's basically saying it's holy also because if you look at the many saints of the Catholic Church, we've always had people heroic in virtue, in sanctity throughout the ages, and there's always been the mystics of the Church, the saints. How is the Catholic Church Catholic or universal? The Catholic Church is Catholic or universal because, by its nature, it is not limited to any nation, but has existed in every age and has spread throughout the world. It's not like here we've got the Church of Ireland, and over there they've got the Church of England, and there has to be a church that's above nationality. I mean, if you're a Catholic, you're part of the Catholic nation. Okay, so there's no. It's above all nationality. It's existed in every age. Its nature isn't limited to any nation. Basically, it's a universal thing. So something that holds the Church together is the fact that everywhere you go, you essentially have the same thing, the same united body. Okay. How is the Catholic Church apostolic? The Catholic Church is apostolic because it traces back its origin to the apostles, is governed by their successors, and teaches their doctrine. That's why it's apostolic, because it's from the apostles. It's the same thing. So it goes back to them. The origin goes back to their way of governing, to their successors, and teaches their doctrine that they got from Christ, and that was especially sort of they were especially good at promoting, and they were filled with it, especially with the help of the Holy Ghost, who came to really enlighten and invigorate them on Pentecost, which is considered the birth of the Church. So apostolic goes right back to the apostles. The work is still going on from those apostles. The same work is still going on, the same Church. Are these four marks to be found in any other body claiming to be the Church of Christ? No. These four marks are found only in the Catholic Church. Other bodies are divided among themselves in faith and worship, or have not the means of holiness, or are not Catholic or apostolic. So they're saying things, for example, if you talk to, let's say, one of the people from one of the Protestant denominations, they'll probably say, well, actually, the early church people, they were actually Protestant. They were pure Protestants, but then the Catholics sort of messed things up, and we had the Mass and all those things that shouldn't have been there. And finally, for example, Martin Luther, he came along and he restored it to its former purity of what it should have been all along. Okay. But in fact, as we've said earlier, Since the very beginning, there have been Catholic practices, same sacrifice, same sacraments, same doctrine. So anybody that tries to say the early Christians were actually this particular type of Christianity, or that they were this one or that one, yeah, it's that would have to be nonsense, because we can trace it right back to the early Christians and the early fathers of the Church, that they were doing the same practices as we do in the Catholic Church today. So the 4 marks are not there in other churches. One Holy Catholic Apostolic, that's our church, and that isn't what other churches claim to have. Must everyone belong to the Catholic Church? Then again, just going back again, it also said that these other bodies are often divided. You know, even though they start off a break away from the Church, then those bodies themselves get broken up into splinters. That's always what happens with heresies. The heretics themselves can't agree eventually among themselves, so you have loads and loads of different little groups. Must everyone belong to the Catholic Church? Everyone must belong to the Catholic Church, and no one can be saved who, through his own fault, remains outside it. So the key point in that question is, in that answer to that question, is if it's through your own fault that you're not adhering to the one true Church, you know, it has the truth. It is the one body under which we must live in order to be saved. If you know that and you ignore that and you kind of cling to some other little sect, then you can't be saved, because you should have known, and in fact you did know, but you ignored that and you stayed outside the Church, or you lived in heresy, or you know. Who are the members of the Catholic Church? The members of the Catholic Church are all baptized persons who profess the faith it proposes, partake of its sacrifice and sacraments, and are governed by the Pope and the bishops united with him. So a Catholic is somebody basically who's been baptized, he goes to the sacraments, he adheres to the same faith, he doesn't question or belittle it, or well, he doesn't renounce those truths. Otherwise he's a heretic, and he's not considered to be properly speaking a member, because a member is docile to the Pope and the bishops. That is, he recognises their authority, and he doesn't oppose them. He doesn't oppose the faith, and he lives by it, essentially. That's basically what a Catholic is. Will the Church last to the end of the world? The Church will last to the end of the world, because Christ has promised that the gates of hell shall not prevail against it, and that he will be with it all days, even to the consummation of the world. And they take for that their reference Matthew 16:18, and then Matthew again 28:20. That concludes that section on the Church, and then chapter 12 will be the rules of the Church. So I'd say we're almost about halfway through this catechism, so hopefully if I keep going at it we will finish it, and we will be discussing other things then, perhaps more to do with the spiritual life. But wanting to cover this whole thing hopefully, and get through it so we can have that under the belt. Going over the basics, an important thing to do today. Thank you for watching Catholic Truth Online.